You want to know how I lost 30 pounds without counting calories? Well, stick around for a few minutes and I'll tell you what steps I took to lose 30 pounds in about 3.5 months. First of all, just a little backstory. I was over about 250 pounds and I was pre-diabetic. I went to my doctor just trying to figure out what could I do that was like natural. I didn't want to take any medication or anything like that. I just wanted to know what to do to get some of the weight off so that I can get out of that pre-diabetic range and lower my blood sugars. My cholesterols were a little high. I didn't have to take medication or anything for it, but I just wanted to be healthy. That's all. So she told me to do IF, which is intermittent fasting, where you eat for a specific time frame and then you fast for a different time frame. Like, for instance, I tried the 16-8. It worked for a little bit, but I don't know, it didn't help me as much as I thought it was going to help. It was kind of hard to stick to. With having that 8-hour window to eat, sometimes I would have different things going on and I'd want to eat outside of that time range. So with that one, you fasted for the 16 hours, which the way I set it up, it included my bedtime and all of that while I was sleeping. And then I would eat for 8 hours. But that's not what I did. I tried it, but that's not what worked for me. I tried something after doing some research and just looking up different stuff online. I tried what's called ADF, alternate day fasting. And with that, you basically eat every other day. And I know you're probably thinking like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. It's not easy. I tell you that. But if you were able to try intermittent fasting, different hours, there's so many different plans of intermittent fasting you can try. But if you've tried that and you've done all right and you're just looking to take it to the next level, you should try ADF because it's more challenging when you first start. But when you continue going with it, it gets easier, I'll say. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my little outline to make sure that I don't forget anything. So yeah. The things that I did while doing ADF, like I said, you fast every other day. So on my fast days, what I did was I drank a lot of water. My goal was about 100 ounces or more to try to get to 120 ounces. And sometimes I hear a lot of people say, to drink like half of your body weight in water, but it's up to you. Just hydrate. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. And oh, I must give a disclaimer. I am not a professional. I'm not a doctor, nothing like that. I'm just sharing with you my experience with fasting and alternate day fasting. Okay, so let's move right along. Again, on my fast days, I would have lots of water. I would drink 1 cup of coffee, and I tried black coffee, but that just didn't work well for me. So I always add just a tad bit of creamer just to give it some kind of flavor, for it to not be black, but like in the middle between black and brown, just to get some other flavor added into it so that I could actually drink it, because I work in the morning, so I got used to drinking coffee. So I did not let my coffee go. So I would drink the coffee, and sometimes I might have 2 cups. It just depends on what was going on, what I had going on that day. But other drinks that I would drink was hot tea, and that would be my green tea. And actually I have a box of the green tea that I would drink is this Yerba Mate. I'm sorry, it's not Yerba Mate. It's Matcha Mate grapefruit Tazo green tea. So I would drink the green tea on those days. Actually, I drink green tea every day. So I think that it's just something good to help with weight loss anyway. So I would drink my green tea, and then I have here my can of bubbly. Sometimes I do a sparkling water. I hope you can see it. A sparkling water drink. That one has 0 calories in it, so it's okay to drink that. Oh, I forgot to mention, with my green tea, I would sometimes add one of those little packets of stevia just to sweeten it. I would add one of those, and not all the time, just if I felt the need to add that, because green tea can be a little bit bitter. And then also, actually moving to the next step, those are the only things that I drank on the fasting days. But there's also one more thing. It's an electrolyte drink. I would use these Element packets. And these just have the electrolytes that you need. I think it's like sodium, magnesium. What else is it? So it has sodium in it. Potassium. That's the other one I was looking for. Potassium, magnesium. And these are just to help you to not feel so sluggish when you're fasting. Sometimes when you're fasting, you get lightheaded, like your electrolytes are off balance. So I do those packets, and it's not something that you have to do. You do what works for you, but I'm just sharing with you my experience. So I did one of those electrolyte packets, and I would add that to like, they have different amount of water you can add it to, but I would add it to my big bottle because I didn't want it to be too salty. I didn't want the flavor to be too salty. So I would add it to my big bottle of water, but you can do it however you want. Anyway, I would drink those on my fasting day, just one packet. And then I did have to take medication for my blood pressure. I've actually come off of one of those medications, but I have 2 medications I have to take for my blood pressure. And sometimes if you don't take those with food, it can make you sick. So with that, I would do like a spoonful of peanut butter because that's a healthy fat. And I have heard that sometimes when you're fasting, just to get you through, you might want to choose a healthy fat to have to help you make it through the day. Like if you feel you can't make it. And on the advice that I have researched and found, it was either a spoon of peanut butter or like a half part of avocado. That's also a healthy fat. So I would always try to have those things around to help me, especially when I take my medication. But you know, if you feel you can't get through the day, take something like that and it'll calm your hunger down for that day. And then lastly, on my fast days, I would do, mild exercise, but it would just be something like walking because I didn't know if I could really handle doing anything strenuous on my fast days. So those are the things that I did on my fast days. Now, the other days, what I would call them are feast days. And those are just the days when you have to refuel your body to get through that day. And then also, if you're eating healthy foods, if you're making healthy choices, that'll help you in getting through your fast days also, because you will have fueled your body to be prepared and ready for that next day, which is a fast day. Remember, the alternate day fasting is you're fasting every other day. So on my feast days, I would eat normal meals. I wouldn't do like counting calories or anything like that. I'd eat the foods that I would normally eat, but I would stop eating about 8 p.m. And then I would start eating by like 8 o'clock I would eat. Now, some people do like a certain window, like on the intermittent fasting, you might do 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. Some people do 8 hours. But I didn't really stick to the 8 hours and I still lost weight. So when I got up the next morning, I would eat, but I wouldn't just go straight to eating regular food. I would start off with a cup of bone broth. And that would be just to kind of slowly move my body into the feasting state, back to eating regular food. So I would start off with something like that, a cup of bone broth, and just ease my way into eating the food. Give myself like 30 minutes, and then I would do like a protein or a fat or something like that. I wouldn't rush to like carbs. I would always try to do a protein or a fat, something that's going to be healthy and not throw off my fasting state. So that's another thing that I learned, that when I'm eating, to start off with those proteins or the fats or something like that. Don't start off with the carbs, the fruit, the vegetables, whatever you're eating. Don't start off with the carbs. Eat the other things first, the proteins or the fats first, and then eat your carbs. So again, I wasn't counting calories. I would just eat like I normally eat. And then the things that I did try to limit though, although I did not always deny myself. I mean, if I wanted a sweet treat or something, I would eat it, but in moderation. So again, I did limit the junk foods, the processed foods, and those carbs that everybody talks about, like the sugar, the rice, the white bread, the starchy foods. Those, I did limit those a little bit, but I still ate them. But I don't eat like white rice and white bread. I eat like the whole grain bread and the brown rice. So I'm already making healthier choices. So those are the things that I would choose, just healthier versions of some of those foods. And then also for the exercise on my feasting days, I would do walking, same thing as I would do on my fasting days. Then I would do exercise videos. And actually, just to throw a little pointer out there, I would do the Grow with Joe workout. So I would do her workouts. And then also I would do some strength training a couple of days a week. And that's where either I'm using my dumbbell weights or my resistance bands. So those are the things that I would do on my feast days. And I went over the things I do on my fast days. It was challenging when I first started. But as my body got used to it, and as long as I was eating the healthy food choices on my feast days, that made it easier for me to get through my fast days. Now, I must say it was challenging when there was a party or gathering or something I had to go to, but that really all boils down to willpower, because now that I'm thinking about it, I did go to a Friendsgiving for Thanksgiving, and I went and fellowshiped with the people and had a good time, but I did not eat. I did not eat anything. I brought my water bottle with me with my electrolyte mix in there. And that's what I sipped on while I was there. And I actually was not tempted. The food smelled really good. But what I did do was I made a plate and I brought it home for the next day. And actually my son ate half of that, but he did save me some. So I ate the rest of that the next day. The healthier choices that I wanted to eat, I ate the next day. But yeah, that's how I lost 30 pounds without counting calories. And you can do it too. If you need more information, there's actually a ton of information out there on ADF. One of the ladies that I was watching on YouTube, I think her YouTube page is Colleen Cares. I got a lot of information from her. So feel free to check it out if you're trying to lose some weight. It's definitely doable, definitely. And if you like this video, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button, leave me a comment, tell me what methods you're using to lose weight and what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. And if you feel led, please feel free to subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video.